Hello everyone, welcome to myself, Max McGillivray from Beanstalk. We'd like to say hello to Jacqui Green.
Hi Max. Hi everyone.
Lovely to see you, Jacqui, and really excited about this broadcast today for two reasons. Global Women Fresh, coffee and tea conversation, and we are talking about sustainability with a focus on diversity and inclusion. I will just wave my cup of tea. It doesn't really work well on the podcast, but hopefully everyone will know that Global Fresh, Global Women Fresh coffee and tea conversation is what what Jacqui and I and the rest of the fantastic team at Global Women Fresh want to do. We just want to have an informal conversations, but with some very influential experts in the sectors and on a complete international basis. So Jacqui, if it's okay, just let me give a bit of as I say, a rah-rah in the respect of Global Women Fresh, because you guys are making such a difference, but we've also, all of us have got to support you even more so in the respect of joining up to you, assisting you in the respect of sponsorship to get you guys to give you more traction so that you could do more good out in the world. So Global Women Fresh, their mission is to change the status quo and leverage the talent of women in produce to close the industry's gender divide by inspiring, connecting and empowering women around the world. And their mission matters more than ever, even more so on the back of the pandemic. Today, women account for 80% of purchasing decisions, but only 20% of the voices guiding decisions in the boardroom. What's more is that by 2030, we'll need the equivalent of 2 planets to feed a growing world population of 10 billion people, half of them female. Our industry has been called upon to feed the world more humanely, sustainably, and efficiently. And more female leadership is a critical part of that answer. We, Beanstalk Global, are very proud to partner Global Women Fresh with a monthly interview series to try and make this. So what do we say, Jacqui? We want to create the conversation, not be part of it. And this is to further promote the great work that Global Women Fresh do to gain the more members ongoing and additional corporate sponsorship, as well as to assist them to make a long-term difference in the global fresh produce sectors. So the halcyon call from this, if you're at all interested in fresh produce, even fresh food, and women in that sector, join Global Women Fresh. Just go to the website, just Google Global Women Fresh, fantastic website, and also to follow the social media. Jacqui, anything to add on that, please?
Oh, you've done most of it. That's really good. You've got it off to an absolute T. No, I think the important thing is we've currently got about 800 members, and up until now have managed to educate, inspire, empower, give professional development and support to around 800 women globally. But that's just a drop in the ocean, and we're involved in really big programs with the United Nations and the International Department of Trade in terms of an initiative called She Trades. And we really want to just spread as much shared knowledge, shared ambition, and basically level up the playing field for women globally. So more members, more sponsors, and the sponsorship options are broad. You don't have to give, all of your annual charity budget, and you can give personally as well. And I guess it's just giving each other a help up, and that's really what we should be doing as sort of women in produce around the world. And that's what the spirit of the not-for-profit Global Women Fresh is there for. But we need more members, we need more sponsors, and we want to share and lift women up.
And this is one of the frustrations I've got in the respect of, I think that your membership should be, well, it will be, but it should be in the thousands. If you look at something like Fruit Logistica, if you're not aware, Fruit Logistica is the largest produce show in the world. It is coming back, fingers crossed, for February next year, 2022. And Jacqui, what does that have? That has something like 3,500 stands, and 75,000 people visit that over a 3-day period. All of them should be aware of Global Women Fresh. And I don't know what the percentage, Jacqui, split is of men versus women, but all of those women that attend Fruit Logistica should be signed up to Global Women Fresh. But I think one of the ways that we can get people attracted to the group is what we're doing today. So Jacqui and the rest of the team have set this amazing subject of sustainability with the focus on diversity and inclusion. And Jacqui, I was wondering how to open this, and I come back to my daughter again. My daughter is she's 17. on Friday, so we're going to start driving lessons properly on the road on Friday. And I had a big conversation with her about sustainability, and she was basically blaming me and my generation, Jacqui, our generation, for the damage that we've created, and why has it got to be them that's got to fix it? And so we had this on-off argument about, well, how can we, okay, if I'm at fault, how can we all collectively change? And it comes back to the same thing, Jacqui, that if we all come together as one, the weight of us, the mass of us, all making a difference on a sustainability basis, we are going to be able to correct this change, this negativity that we've done in the world. But I suppose the one thing I'm slightly worried about is that it's like today there were two big announcements in the UK about a new sustainability metric for UK agriculture, and one of the trade groups has put sustainability at core of their campaign for fresh produce. And I just hope these are realistic ambitions, realistic gains, so that we can make this difference. Jacqui, what do you think?
I think it starts with what the definition of sustainability is. And I think the risk is that it becomes a bit of a one-horse race, and it's all around carbon, or it's all around soil health, or it's all around waste. But actually, this is my kind of go-to document, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because within that are the answers to come up with a really sort of rounded scorecard of doing business the right way. So within that, there's equality, there's poverty, there's land, there's sea, there's climate, there's being a responsible consumer, there's responsible architecture, and it all falls under really those umbrella headings. And actually there are 17 of them. We should have called today Sweet 17 because, and it's interesting, your daughter's 17th birthday, so how appropriate. We really do need to take a look at them. And I think for me, defining sustainability is the first thing, and not allowing it to become the latest sort of fad, and actually ensuring that businesses and within that every continent, and within that women and men aligned have a really clear focus on the Sustainable Development Goals. I did a bit of research a while ago, and I found that of the top 30% of food companies globally, only 4% actually had a specific strategy or policy statement around gender equality, but almost all of them had a specific statement or policy around food poverty. So treat each of these 17 sustainable development goals equally, rather than majoring on one or two. So I think that's my message really, is keep sustainability as a kind of a topic as broad as you can, but in the context of women, actually recognizing women in fresh produce could contribute massively to a number of these if the playing field was leveled up, and if they had access to the same training and resources as their male counterparts. Actually they could be having a massive impact on some of these other development goals, and I guess we just need to bring that alive, and I'm sure our guests today are going to do that.
What a fantastic segue, because what we need now, Jacqui, is we need to lean on some amazing experts on a global basis around the subject of sustainability, with a focus on diversity and inclusion. So can we have our experts all come in, please? I'm very excited about this. See who we've got. We have got fantastic. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to get everyone to introduce themselves and who they represent. And then everyone, what we're going to do is I'm going to do what I call a deep dive interview with each of them for about 10 minutes to find out more about them. And then we're going to go into a fast-paced, slightly crazy Q&A to debate this subject. And so we're going to roll for about an hour. But let's see who our experts are. Enrica, who are you and who do you represent, please?
Hello, so I'm Enrica. I'm co-founder of Orange Fiber, which is a company that transforms the citrus byproducts into fabrics for fashion. And I'm from Italy.
It's just an amazing story. Wait to get there, everyone. Natalia, who are you, please?
Good day, everyone. It's a really a pleasure and a good opportunity to be here among these amazing women. I'm Natalia Moran. I'm from Colombia.
Wow.
I'm the commercial international director of Montana Fruits. It was founded in 2018. It's a young company. It's founded by a group of experts that has experience in different areas of the agribusiness, and we export passion fruits and avocado. Our main market is Europe.
Wow, fantastic. Again, we're going to get into it with Natalia about the sustainability element of her business. And last but not least, Nika, who are you, please?
Hi there, everyone. So my name is Nika, and I work for the John Lewis Partnership, which also includes Waitrose. So we sell a lot of fresh produce, and I've worked in the kind of world of sustainability for goodness about 15 years now, across different businesses in the charity sector. And within, I've just moved roles slightly, but my last role was working in the kind of Waitrose sustainability team, looking at a range of different issues in terms of what Jacqui was saying, looking at kind of the broad range of the 17 kind of SDG goals, but particularly kind of running the Waitrose Foundation, which was basically investing back into fresh produce communities. So I'll probably talk a little bit about that today.
Fantastic. And Nika, just before I forget, Zambia, what was the best thing about residing in Zambia, please?
The fact that it's a country that includes a park that I'm named after.
Yes. So, another fantastic segue. Can you just tell us a little bit about the background to your name, because it's such a beautiful name?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm actually named after a national park which is in Malawi, but it also borders Zambia. So I was born in Malawi. So yeah, it was fantastic to be back in Africa, and I'm particularly passionate about Africa, and a lot of my work has been spent in Africa, but also setting up programs which are kind of benefiting African people.
Fantastic. And if everyone, when we're allowed to travel again, Malawi, Zambia, what amazing places. But that's we need to do a one-on-one interview, a proper one with yourself, Nika, to find out, hear all your stories about Zambia. So everyone, let's get into these one-on-one conversations. So if everyone could turn off their video, apart from Enrica, that'd be fantastic. And as we said earlier in our green room, if you could just get ready to turn on your video and audio when I request. So Enrica, I just was looking at your biog earlier, and I thought, especially for the people on the podcast, because we get these requests to have a little bit more background over and above what we're going to talk about. So I just was looking at your bio, and I thought it'd be quite interesting just to state some of it. You believe that the only way to achieve a sound, sustainable development is the active participation of the civil society, the business sector, and the citizens in a process aiming at the creation of cultural shared values. In this framework, communication, education, and knowledge networks play a central role to identify and consolidate the shared values to build on. Your personal aim is to dedicate your passion, your skills, and your learning to create and develop synergies between communication, entrepreneurship, cooperation to promote mutual learning, development, growth, and respect among cultures. You've been described as a positive and ambitious personality, blended with strong work ethic, passionate and reliable, able to build solid interpersonal relationships, eager and fast learning, and able to work well under pressure in a team or autonomously. How does that sound? Was that a good intro?
Well, yeah, amazing.
Well, okay. Okay, so can you blend that in with us and Orange Fiber? Because I could read out about Orange Fiber, but just to hear from you as to how you created it, what it is, and the good it's doing would be amazing, please.
Yeah, so the story is totally crazy because I started studying communication and development cooperation, and I worked in Italy and in Egypt in this field, so mostly about communication or fundraising or project management for development cooperation and non-profit. But I always felt, it was, not enough what I was doing. So a friend of mine, at the time we were flatmates, she had this idea of creating a fabric from citrus. So she basically asked me if I could support her. At first, really just being part of the team. So it's like, okay, when you apply for a startup competition, you need to have a slide with the team. And she was like, okay, I trust you. We live together. I know you're not stealing my stuff from the fridge. Do you mind if I put your name and eventually you support me every now and then? So that's how it all started. Then all of a sudden, a few months later, she told me, oh, we won. And I was like, we won what? Is it some supermarket prize? And she was, no, not at all. We need to go to Spain to introduce the project because we are finalists. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, enjoy your trip. Hope you like Spain and make a lot of pictures. I was like, So no, you have to do, because you have better English and I can go on that specific date. So I was like, what? Because at the end of the day, the whole thing was her idea, and I'm a little bit of a control freak. So when it came to present this thing for her in front of a very large audience, I went back to study, and that's how it all started. And 1 year later, pretty much, we established the company in Italy, and that was in 2014.
Wow. Okay, so just to tell us about the products. If myself or my colleagues wanted to buy any of your products, describe them to us, please.
So what we sell in a business-to-business environment, so right now we are not selling to final clients or final consumers, but more to brands. We sell white plain fabrics that can be made using just orange fiber or in a blend with different materials and yarn. But the magic behind this is not, of course, having a white fabric that is a canvas for designers to do everything they want, but it's more the process behind it. Because we work with citrus squeezer. Sicily is very rich in citrus, but of course, you know that some of it goes for fresh consumption, but some others goes for squeezing. And in that case, the byproduct is quite heavy in terms of cost for disposal, but also in quantity. So our process actually extracts a cellulose that can be transformed into yarn, so into fiber and into yarn, and that's the magic. This is normally made with wood.
Yep.
So we are all familiar with viscose or acetate or lyocell or cupro, that are all materials normally made from wood, but in this case, the cellulose comes from citrus byproducts.
Yeah, and help me, is the quality as good as conventional material, or is it okay?
Well, the quality is absolutely comparable with existing products. The main difference, of course, is that we are not eroding or using raw materials, but just using a byproduct. And they can be, given that we start from the fiber, we can then create yarn and spin the product with other materials, so that the hands feel and the quality and the technical aspect of the fiber can be modified depending on the client's needs. So it's to the final client, they just have a very good and soft touch and feel. It's readable and it's sustainable.
Wow. I think in some ways you're wrong with your statement about the magic. In some ways, I think it's a miracle. You look at the environmental issues that are happening over clothing. I was mentioning my daughter earlier, and she shops in some shops in the UK. She doesn't do this, but she's aware that some of her friends will pick up an item and wear it 1 or 2 times and then throw it away because it is so cheap. It's so affordable that you could just wear a T-shirt once. And where does that clothing go? It either goes into landfill or it gets sent off to Asia to be reprocessed. And I'm quite shocked at the moment that where I am based here in Suffolk, we've got a new huge building being put down at the moment on an industrial estate. It's going to be nearly 1 million square foot just for clothing. And so we seem to be on this hamster wheel of just producing clothing, and it's not sustainable. We've then got the likes of your product that if people can be enlightened, excited about the difference that they can create with sustainability by buying your product. Hence my expression about it being a miracle. Do you think you can get your product internationally? What's the plans for the business?
So the plan for the business is to internationalize the process that has already been patented in the main citrus producer countries. So the idea is really to create some relationship with the juice producer there to internationalize the process and the company. because we feel also that if we want to talk about sustainability in a real way, the closer we are to the client and the raw material, the better it is. So that's the reason why the first plant is here in Sicily within a juice producer plant. And just to go back to the impact of fashion and whatever we consume, it's very relevant to know that cellulosic fibers, if they are disposed in the right way, they can biodegrade under the right condition. But also there are plenty of projects and companies right now that are working to actually dissolve again the cellulose and spin it again. Because it's not just about biodegrade, it's how long it's bringing the value back to the garment first, because we need to understand that everything has a cost and a price in terms of environment and people behind. And the more we extend the life cycle of that material, the better.
Yeah, so fantastic. I've got to give you an example. I have a can of pop here, tangerine and strawberry essence. So we know what happens with that aluminium can. I will recycle it. It will go into the recycle chain within the UK, and it will either make another can, or if it's of a high grade enough, it will make an aeroplane. To be able to do the same with your clothing, wow. But I suppose it's just getting that magic dust, that message out. Is there any way that we, with our network, and I'm talking to the collective we of Jacqui, of Nika, of Natalia, our connections, is there any way that we can help you to accelerate the growth of your business? How can we help you?
Well, I think that being in touch with citrus producer, but also people who work with extracting value from citrus. For instance, our main business partner here in Sicily, they extract natural ingredients from citrus and all their natural products. Could be really a game changer, because we need partners that are also investor in the sense that they have maybe machineries or people that can dedicate a few hours to work with us and test if their facilities can be used in our supply chain.
Yep, and just help me. Those facilities, would you be okay if those facilities were in South Africa or America, or do they need to be in Europe? What's your thoughts?
And we're super open to that. I mean, our patent has already been extended in Brazil, Mexico, United States, and India, because we find there's the main overlap between citrus and the supply chain for cellulosic fibers. Yeah. And of course, potential markets for growth, but we are open to every possibility.
So the reason I mentioned South Africa is that South Africa exports in a normal year 4.5 million tons of fresh produce, and a large amount of that is citrus. And they also sell into the South Africa, the country itself, 3.5 million tons. And there'll be I don't know the figures off the top of my head, but there'll be a large percentage that goes for juicing or other products. And as you say, there's that waste. I'm finding this fascinating because, as Jacqui said, the Global Women Fresh, they have a connection with She Trades, and we interviewed an amazing lady from Kenya, and she makes avocado oil from waste avocados, and this talent that there is within the female network for making amazing products out of what everyone thinks is waste products. I think it's fascinating. Enrica, just stay there. Natalia, can you come back in, please? So it'd be interesting to see. So Natalia, what do you think? Enrica, stay on, please. Natalia, what do you think? Would you look to wear clothing made out of Enrica's citrus fiber? Sounds amazing.
Well, sure, of course. It's really interesting, actually, and it's a good idea to start finding out here in Colombia what we can do with avocado or even with passion fruit as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
Very good idea. Yes.
Right. Enrica, thank you. If you turn off your video, and we'll bring you back in for the Q&A. So, Natalia, I am British, so I have to ask you, how is the weather in Colombia?
The weather in Colombia is always better than in England. I'm based in Medellin. In Medellin, we call it the spring city. So you have sunny day, but suddenly you have a lot of rain. So you never know what is going to expect. but it's really nice.
Fantastic.
Really, really nice.
So just as we did for Enrica, I just want to give a bit of background on yourself. So you're the co-founder of Montana Fruits, and you've experienced in national and international trade, management of sales and marketing teams, sales budget planning, and the follow-through by applying marketing and sales strategies. You're completely fluent in both English and French, and you've got great interpersonal skills, and you're a fantastic team player. And your business, as you mentioned earlier, you're a Colombian company dedicated to the export of avocado, has, passion fruit and lime, carefully selected. I'm going to cheat here. What's your favorite fresh produce? What do you like to eat?
Passion fruit, for sure. For fruit, okay? And avocado, always here. Actually, in Colombia, we share a lot with the family, and always we have an avocado in our table, always.
Yeah, and we were talking about this on a previous broadcast, that when I was a child, we didn't have any avocados, and it's now our younger generation in the UK and Europe, they are in some ways so spoilt to have the likes of avocado, passion fruit, lime, and also mango. So it's amazing that a business like yours, and especially with your background and your involvement, can look to bring your amazing Colombian products into the UK. So the business, how did you create the business? Why did you create the business? Were you crazy?
Actually, it was a dream. I started international business. And then with my brother also studied that, because in the beginning, he wasn't sure about it. So I tell to him, okay, look, let's export to the world our products. And then obviously I started working in other kind of companies, more commercial, and he started in the agribusiness. So then we came together with our dream, and we find out other team members, other colleagues that share the same dream, and also that have experience. So we started in 2018 with passion fruit first. I remember that I went to the logistic, to the International Fair Trade in Berlin, fruit attraction. And I started to meet some customers there. Then we start our first container. It was like that we started doing a good job, good quality, etc.
Fantastic. So how many people do you employ now, and just roughly how much produce do you sell into Europe?
Yes, of course. We direct employees. We are 40 people, 75% of them are women, and in the administrative field we are 50-50. So I'm the only one. I'm the only woman in the board of directors with my business partner, but the rest we are more women than male. Yes, but only in the peak season, we have with other company, we had other kind of employees. Yeah. For example, in peak season, we can have 100 people, 100 workers, with obviously all the social condition, etc.
Fantastic.
Exporting, we have exported around 200 containers, and we also have offer the service to other kind of companies, the packing services.
I think all credit to you. I meet so many individuals who I think would be fantastic if they ran their own business, but they're frightened to. They prefer the security of working in a bigger fresh produce business, and they're worried about the paycheck, not getting the monthly paycheck. But when I asked them if you could be on two different worlds, one world where you're working for a big company and you're a number, not a name, and another world where you're working for yourself and you're making your own difference, which world would you prefer? And they always say, I'd love to be on my own world, doing my own thing. Well, do your own thing then. But so few people do, and I think all credit to yourself and your brother. That's an amazing combination, because I'm guessing that you have got very strong skills in certain areas, and your brother's got very strong skills in certain areas, and you work very well together. Would that be correct?
Yes, correct. And also our other team members, for example, two of them have been growers of passion fruit for 12 years. They have a lot of experience in the agro. So yes, actually, to have all these different kind of experience, I'm in charge of the international customers, and they are in the, some of them are in the fields, other in the packing house. So each one has its own experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
That we share.
And I suppose, has it been easier for you, because you're a relatively young business, to be able to concentrate on sustainability and diversity, or has it been equally as hard as if you were a 10-year-old or a 20 or 30-year-old business? Has it been easy to set up the sustainability and the diversity within your business?
I think it's easy because we have in our mind, in our heart, that's passion, you know. So we shared, we wanted to create a business, but a sustainable business that we can help others, because it's not for us, it's for our impact, possibly our country, our team members. So no, we don't have a doubt. Actually, I have all the respect and the commitment of my team members to do it.
Okay, and do you promote this? If I was going to be a new customer for yourself in the UK, would I pick up very quickly that you're passionate about the sustainability, you're passionate about the diversity? Do you look to promote that externally in the respect of your business?
Yes, of course. Actually, because of the certification are a good way of show that we are committed to that. We have SMETA audit, and we are working to have fair trade as well. So obviously they can check our let's say good point that we are doing, and they can connect with our employees, and they can see that we are doing very well the job.
Fantastic. And a similar question to the one that I asked Enrica, with our network, how can we help you? Are you looking for more customers? Can we spread the word about your amazing business?
Well, customers, we are okay with the customer, but we want more help. We want, if you can help us, is more that to create a good network for gender equality, to help in Colombia, for example, to close a little bit the gap. As I already mentioned, we have a lot of women working for us, and we are trying to help them with data strengths, to help increase, to help, for example, have education. We are doing a project, we are developing a project with 17 communities with women that are heads of household, you know what I mean? So the idea is to give to them a half hectare of a land and teach to them how to manage the passion fruit business. Obviously, we are going to export their fruit and trade their fruit. So this is the idea, to impact more. For example, we have done a survey in our company to know a little bit more our employees, what is their situation. Sometimes they have to leave their cell phones at home because their children have to connect to the virtual classes through a cell phone. So we have checked that, and we know how many people need, for example, computers or tablets or connected to internet. So in those things we need help, but someone that can, or companies that can donate computers, for example. We are doing that here in Colombia, actually.
Wow, this sounds very similar to a broadcast that we did recently with an amazing lady in India called Nina Patel, who runs amazing, great business called Fresh Express in India. And it's similar sort of figures, that about 80% of their employees are all women, and they've been able to become self-sufficient because of what Nina has and her colleagues have managed to do to educate them, to assist them and they've got something in the region of 400, 500 outgrowers now, all because of what Nina set up. So Natalia, I think what you're doing, and you're only 3 years in, is absolutely amazing. So anything that we could do to assist. So I will put the word out about the likes of computers. I'll talk to you offline just to see if we can further assist on that. So Natalia, just stay there. Nika, if you could come in, please, that would be brilliant. So Nika, no, Natalia, don't go.
Sorry, okay, I'm here.
Nika, do you know off the top of your head whether John Lewis Waitrose, whether they source much product out of Colombia, out of South America?
Yeah, we do. So actually, one of the projects I've been involved in was sourcing fair trade coffee from Colombia.
Okay,
so
nice.
And then we also have kind of bananas and a kind of whole range of other things. So yeah, we do have a good connection to Colombia.
Excellent. And
nice.
Nika, have you ever been to Colombia?
No, sadly, it's high on my list when the world opens up.
You are all welcome to come.
Yes, we got the invite. We're coming over as soon as we're allowed to. We'll come over. So yes. Natalia, if you could just turn off your video, and we'll bring you back in for the Q&A.
Thank you.
Nika, that was amazing. What really got me there was when I asked Natalia, would you like more customers? No, we're fine on customers. Just help us on the nuts and bolts of the whole diversity element. So come, Nika, if it's okay, I'm just going to give you your little bit of a, well, it's not little bio, so that everyone, especially people on the podcast and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, get a bit more of an understanding on your background, because you're fascinating. So you're a corporate responsibility professional with significant experience in both the not-for-profit and private sectors, including a depth of experience living and working in developing markets, including Africa and Zambia, as we talked about earlier. Your experience and interests transcend the traditional boundary between business and community, and you passionately believe in the positive power of business to achieve social change. Stakeholder and partnership management, key skill. Strategic communication, key skill. Program development and management, key skill. Excellent understanding of the not-for-profit and private sectors with hands-on experience in international development. You could basically says it there, where you're fascinating is that you've got a foot in both camps. We're seeing quite a few sustainability managers coming through now, and the fear I have with some of them is that they are corporate. They've only worked on a corporate side, and they haven't actually, I'm not going to say this, got their hands dirty. They haven't been worked on a non-profit side. So do you think that's actually been beneficial for you to work for both sides?
Absolutely. So I think, well, for a start, it's not used to having my LinkedIn profile kind of read out. I firmly believe in partnerships. I firmly believe in the role of kind of business working very closely with the charity sector, with government. I think it's all about collaboration. And I think, as you described, I kind of started off my career in the charity sector. And I think that has kind of enabled me to truly understand the issues. And as you say, kind of willing to kind of get my hands dirty, as it were, and kind of get involved in kind of true programming.
And career-wise, we have a lot of graduates watch us on a UK and international basis. And I don't know about you, but we're definitely seeing this sea change. The number of people want to come, younger individuals want to come into the food sector to make a difference. So you as an individual, you could have gone on into mainstream corporate life. You could have gone into politics. You could have gone into sports. Why did you choose this particular industry sector to prosper in, please?
Yeah, so I guess for me, I'm kind of driven by impact, and so I believe in the power of kind of business for social good. And so that's why I was kind of driven by it. I've not just worked within kind of fresh produce, I've worked in banking sector as well. So I think that all industries have a role to play. And I think there's growing pressure on businesses to really demonstrate how they are being responsible.
Yeah, and we've used this example before, Jacqui and I, that and I think we might have talked about it in our briefing discussion, but just to highlight it again, that Legal & General in the UK, Legal & General, a very large pension fund, and they've taken a fascinating and very proactive approach that they've stated by the end of 2022, the 100 top businesses that they invest their money, their pension funds into. If those businesses haven't created a diversified board by then, Legal & General are going to withdraw their funding. So it's driving this societal change in some respects. Are you confident that with the likes of your work, the amazing work that John Lewis and Waitrose do you think we're headed in the right direction, or will something else come along and derail us? An example being that there's a bit of a concern that we're picking up that as the pandemic took hold, so many companies had to park some environmental practices because they just had to survive. Do you think sustainability and diversity, do you think it has a future?
I do, because I think it's becoming more and more embedded into business, and I think there's greater focus on disclosure, transparency. I think there's, as you just described, there's greater investor pressure, around kind of ESG, so environmental, social, and governance. So I think that pressure from investors will keep that focus, and that growing legislation, and kind of increasing kind of mandates of disclosure around it.
Yeah, and you'll see some amazing examples out there on a supplier base. If a supplier came to you and said, we're concerned because we don't have, we don't think we're strong enough on sustainability, we don't think we're strong enough on diversity and inclusion. Nika, can you just give us a masterclass? What do we need to do? What's the roadmap? Where can we find this information? Nika, help us. What do we need to do? What would your answer be?
So, I mean, there are hundreds of frameworks, and Jacqui has named obviously the SDGs, which is obviously a critical one. I would say it's really about kind of looking at your business, looking at what your kind of risks are and what the opportunities are. And I think we'll know that we are successful when we're talking about sustainability is when it's truly embedded. So I would say take a really kind of good look at the core of your business. What are the kind of key issues you're facing, whether it's gender equality, whether that's drought, in terms of kind of climate change, whether it's propositions around circularity, which has been orange fiber is a fantastic example of. So I think it's really kind of looking at it in the whole. And there are lots of different kind of consultancies and support frameworks out there that can help you on that journey. And I would just say it is a journey. You're not going to get there overnight, and it's going to take a while to get there. But it's also about partnerships, and be willing to have that conversation, not just internally, but with others about how you will drive progress.
Yeah, and it's not just adding a page on a website, is it? It's actually got to be, as we've heard from Enrica and Natalia, it's actually got to be from within. And I mentioned that legal and general example, and the likes of John Lewis are doing a fantastic job promoting the whole element of sustainability and diversity. Do you think other retailers in the UK, in Europe, or even globally, when you're looking further afield, do you think they're keeping up with the difference that John Lewis is making?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on a journey. I don't think there's kind of anyone who has done it. I think, I think there are helpful kind of benchmarks and kind of disclosure frameworks out there to enable you to assess that progress. But I don't think anyone has kind of completely cracked it. I think, there's some fantastic examples with the likes of B Corp companies. I don't know if anyone's come across them, but some really great kind of examples there of how to do it. I mean, I think, I think it's about kind of learning from how others have done it and trying to kind of look at how you can embed some of that learning into your own business.
Yeah, well done, because I didn't really want to ask you the question of which businesses do you admire, and the easy answer to that is if you look at B Corp online, we have a UK website, but there's also an international website, and all the companies that are B Corp registered are on there, and you can then look at them and see how they've created them. And there's some very young businesses, aren't there, but also some very well established businesses, and you can see the difference that they're making out there. So I think my main takeaway from our chat, apart from me reading out your very professional and impressive LinkedIn profile, is the point that you make. It's a journey, that this whole element of sustainability, diversity, inclusion, it's a journey. You're not just going to fix it overnight. You've got to have that will to change and go on that journey. And there's enough people out there to assist, and B Corp being an example. And anything else to add on that, please?
I think the other thing I would just say is partnerships. So you're not doing it alone. And it's about how you can try and kind of collaborate cross-sector. And also potentially even with competitors as well. I think you see some really great examples competitors kind of working in a space that is pre-competitive.
Yeah, and there's one thing I've definitely learned over this last year, doing 80 something broadcasts on a UK and international basis. This word of collaboration is coming through thick and fast, rather than having this siloed thinking that we run our business and we've got to keep everything tight. As you say, if you're sharing information with a potential competitor, but it's actually going to be a benefit to both of you because you're both looking to go into the same direction, you're going to be in a far better place than trying to hold everything tight. Nika, thank you very much. Let's get everyone back in so we can roll over to our Q&A. Jacqui, I'll just start with yourself. Weren't they all brilliant?
Fantastic. Thank you all so much. That was a really, really great rounded view of the world. And I've written down some notes for myself anyway, and I'm sure other people have. So thank you to all of our speakers. That was fantastic. Really great debate. So let me start off with this. The definition of sustainability is so broad. Can anyone help me and everyone watching and listening on the podcast and the record? What's everyone's view on what sustainability is? And Enrica, if that's okay, can I present it over to you, because you'll have your own view with your background in Orange Fibre. What do you think? What's the definition of sustainability?
Well, on one hand, it's for sure the less we take from nature in terms of resources, the better, but also the longest we can use something and the better it can be recycled and go back to the circle. Well, that's the thing. And of course, it's definitely also about reality and measurement, because a lot of claims are around sustainability, but only measuring the life cycle of each product, no matter what product it is, and considering in it the raw material sources, but also the end of the life cycle and the use of the products by itself, we can achieve real and sound sustainability. And as difficult it is to say so from a commercial and company perspective, but sustainability is the less and better we consume, the best and more sustainable we are.
Yeah. What is it about our race that we just need to consume? It's like that. There's a bumper sticker in America that reads, "He who dies with the most toys wins." And it's just, I know it's a bit facetious and sarcastic, but it is something that we have to dramatically change. Otherwise, we won't have a planet. Natalia, what's your view on this subject, especially with your business and especially with Columbia? How do you define sustainability to your workforce?
Yes, it's how we put all the resources that we have and we employ them in order to last for other generations. It's not only to take for us, it's to think about other generations and how we can take care of our environment. For example, in our country, for example, we had a lot of good environment. So yes, it's how we can do good things to its resource can last over other generations.
Fantastic. And Nika, you must get this request on a regular basis. If you were having to do a presentation to a number of university students and someone stuck up their hand and said, sustainability, what does it mean? From your perspective and a John Lewis perspective, what would your retort be, please?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, as I say, I've worked in this kind of industry for a while now, and there's been a lot of talk about language. It started off being corporate social responsibility, citizenship, ESG, whatever it may be. Personally, why does it even need to be called out as something different? Why isn't it just about doing business well?
Wow. Well said. Wow, that's brilliant. So you're of a view that the messaging, your business, your culture, your values, you should just be doing this. You shouldn't have to flash up that you're a sustainability expert or a diversity or an inclusion expert. You just do it.
Yeah, it should be part of your DNA, embedded in your purpose, and that's where I think we need to get to as a industry in this.
Yeah, but and I know I said earlier, I do believe that there's a generational shift, that the younger individuals coming through universities or apprenticeships, and I'm seeing this in the likes of South Africa as well as the UK, that they want to care about the environment. So and they've been we haven't actually spoken about this. They've been very selective as to who they work for. So they're going to be researching companies, looking for jobs, and if that company doesn't hold the values that they are looking to adhere to, they're not going to join them, and that company is going to lose out on them, aren't they? So that's going to slow their growth down. So it's a fascinating sector. Jacqui, let's jump on to this big event that we've got in November in the UK, COP26 in Glasgow. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could all attend or all be in there virtually to ask UK and international business leaders to help us? Jacqui, if you could have the opportunity to speak to those global leaders at COP26, what would you say to them, please?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think, Nick has just sort of summed it up, really. It is about doing business well. So for me, this whole competitive advantage thing just needs to be put to one side. And this is about just doing the right thing. So I think global leaders should be encouraging business leaders within their countries to actually work together under the auspices of the Sustainable Development Goals, because I think they're really easy to communicate. They work globally. Everyone gets it. But I would say that should be incumbent on big businesses within every country to work hand in glove with government, but also with each other, to come up with strategies to make a difference. You know, people ignoring climate change or thinking that it's, competitive advantage if I'm doing something and you're not. These days are long gone. The point is we've just got to do business well, and I think Nick has just summed it up really well. That's perfectly put. So yeah, don't stop talking about it, and recognize that sustainability and profitable business not just can coexist, but have to coexist. If you don't have a profitable business, then this is all for naught. So business leaders need to be brave and step up and recognize that the two can coexist, and that's
fantastic. Thank you, Jacqui. Natalia, with COP26 coming up, well, do you think it would be beneficial for the likes of yourself and your growers to be paid more? I just want to give you an example. I went into Tesco's, our UK retailer, at lunchtime today, and I bought some bits and bobs, and I bought some citrus already for Enrica. Enrica, I'm going to post you the peel. Okay. But Natalia, I bought half a dozen bananas from Colombia, and they were they're fair trade, but they were 89p. So say €1-ish for half a dozen bananas. And a chocolate bar, I didn't buy a chocolate bar, but a chocolate bar could be €1.50. To me, the growers internationally within fresh produce aren't being rewarded enough by the retailers. Do you think that growers need to receive more margin, more income, so that you can accelerate your sustainability, your diversity, and your inclusion? Do you need to be paid more?
Of course, it's every certification that we did is because we think about the person that are working for the crops. Actually, fair trade is a good example, and we receive more money or a better payment, but it goes to the community actually.
Yeah. So
yes, of course, if we can receive more, but to invest to the community is amazing. That's why are we doing that?
Yeah,
because you can have a positive impact for them and pay better for the fruit, actually.
Fantastic, thank you. And I slightly led you on that question. Are there any other questions that you would ask the world leaders at COP26, please? Natalia?
What did you say, sorry?
I led you down the road on that particular question. If you had the opportunity to ask those international leaders at COP26 any other questions about sustainability, about diversity, about inclusion, what would you ask those business leaders? What would you like to see change, please?
I would like to ask about how to be better leader as a woman. Yes, this is my question, because it's not easy. Here it's a male-dominated sector, and it's not easy to talk or to generate more projects on our own.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's an advert here. Join Global Women Fresh, like you all have done.
Yes.
So you're not just one voice; you're lots of voices. And Enrica, this would be fascinating with yourself with COP26, because you're a very well established business now, and you want to go further afield. What would you ask those business leaders as to what difference they could make for you and the infrastructure and the ecosystem that they created for you? What would you ask them, please?
I will definitely ask to create more space and support for a joint project between different industries, because that's where we feel we are, having a gap that we are trying to bridge. Because on one hand, we have the fresh fruit squeezer that are having issues in getting rid of the byproducts and looking for solutions, but also as they have their margin very reduced, they cannot invest in something that is so unsure as an output. And on the other hand, we have pulp producer or food producer that are looking for alternatives, but at the same time, they don't know anything about citrus in our case. So we might be the one-stop solution, but then bridging these words together in terms of risk management, like funding and accelerating, that's where I think there could be a lot of space to make things happen.
Well done. And Enrica, do you think COP26, do you think it's going to make a difference? Or in English, is it just a talking shop? Do you think it can actually make a difference, having a bunch of middle-aged, stale men round a table talking about environmental issues, talking about diversity, talking about inclusion? Do you think the likes of COP26 can actually make a difference? Enrica, what do you think?
Well, I don't think an event by itself can make a difference, but what leads to that event and what comes after, or the negotiation and all the meetings, all the shaking hands, all the commitment that people will be called upon after the meeting by itself, can make a difference. So the fact that people are reminded that these issues are issues, that company have to comply with some rules or make some commitment, can make a difference. But it takes a village.
Well, fantastic, great. Like, Nika, what do you think? Are you going to be watching it with? Are you going to watch every minute of it? Or are you just going to be watching it from afar, or somewhere in the middle? What do you think?
Probably somewhere in the middle. No, I think it's a really important moment. I think, as Erica kind of pointed out, it is what happens before and after it. I think, which is going to be, in that classic expression, the kind of proof will be in the pudding, in terms of, in the eating, whatever it is. In terms of what comes out of it. But no, I think it's a really important moment, and I really look forward to seeing what the outcomes are.
And Jacqui, where are you on this? Are you going to be an avid watcher to see if there will be some key signals, some white smoke that's actually going to drive further sustainability and diversity and inclusion, or not? What do you think?
I think it's Nika just said, it's a real moment in time. There's so much else sort of in debate at the moment, and I think the way that this particular summit is handled is going to be a big signal to everyone in the world that this is, bigger and cannot be ignored. So the point you made earlier, Max, about people putting things on hold while handling the pandemic, global leaders need this stage now to remind everybody that this isn't something that can wait. So yeah, I will be watching. I'll be watching, not literally minute by minute, but I'll be certainly looking at a review at the end of each day and seeing what the key topics are. But the ladies are right. It isn't about the actual event. It's all of the precursors, and more importantly, what it then compels governments to go and do, and hopefully what they then compel citizens and businesses in their countries to do.
Well done. And if you look at our three experts, the way that their businesses are progressing, if anything, politics has got to catch up with them. So I think that having the likes of them on board, the momentum that they're garnering and the attraction that they're going to garner with other businesses to make that difference. So everyone, just to wrap up, in this Oh, well, we said it at the beginning with the intro with Jacqui. In sustainability seems to be the headline in every article that I'm picking up, and our followers are really keen to understand from you all what they should prioritize to deliver maximum impact on this sustainability headline. So, and how can they do that whilst considering gender equality? So, Enrica, within your business, how can we drive forward sustainability and bring with it gender equality? What's your answer to that one, please?
Well, the gender equality one is, I mean, I think fashion is one of that industries where actually women are super well represented. So we don't really maybe need that push. Maybe we need it more on the raw material and supply chain world and fresh fruit that I somehow represent. And that's, I mean, the only way is through inspiring them on one way and studying and education on the other hand, because I mean, taking care of the planet and being passionate about the process is just something that on one hand you need to feel and then learn how to do it. And for sustainability, I think the main switch I call people on is to be aware that we are investor on our everyday life. So it's not that we are customer or client, because every time we buy something, there's a brand that is collecting that data and producing accordingly or ordering accordingly. So it's not that we are passive in this process. So whenever we choose to read the label or be aware of the supply chain or shop fair trade or organic or whatever cause we care for, we are not just buying, but we are investing in the people who are producing that product.
Enrica, brilliant. Natalia, sustainability and this element of element of gender equality, can within your business, can you keep that sustainability and that gender equality? Can you keep both marching on the same pace?
Yes, of course, and actually, strength the identify their strength, you know, so they can become leaders or a whole process. For example, we have identified an immigrant from Venezuela. He had experience about health and security, for example. So we identified that, and then we became here a leader of a process. Now he's a role model of that for the women of our organization. So demonstrate to them and show to them that they can be more secure and have all their strengths and growth within the company organization.
Fantastic. Nika, what do you think? Sustainability, that gender equality, do you hope that your businesses that you're associated with will be able to bring them in parallel with each other as we progress?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of to your kind of your question kind of early there, I think it's about really important in kind of looking at it really kind of from an inclusive perspective, if I'm honest. And, you know, as you say, as we kind of talked about earlier, kind of thinking through what are the different voices that we need to hear. So if we're talking about gender equality, have we got the right level of kind of women represented in decisions? But, you know, similarly, you know, if you're looking at kind of farm level kind of worker programs, have you got representation of farm workers in terms of making those decisions? And so it's looking at kind of stakeholders in the broader sense, I think. And looking at inclusion in the broader sense, because I don't think it's, you know, as we talked about earlier, it's not just you know, gender equality, which is the issue. It's kind of all of the 17 kind of goals as well. So I think it's kind of looking holistically and bringing your stakeholders into that discussion to know what the best kind of outcome and to be driving are.
Fantastic. Nika, thank you very much. Everyone, we're just running out of time. Before we wrap up, remember to sign up and join with Global Women Fresh. And remember that if you're a business and you want to make a difference, come and join them as a corporate sponsor. Just look at their website, Global Women Fresh, just Google it, or contact Jacqui and the rest of the team. Everyone, just to wrap up, I have got my citrus crystal ball here. This subject of sustainability diversity and inclusion. Do you think if we look in the crystal ball, is it going to be positive? Are we going into a positive few years? What do you think, Enrica? Are we going to be in a positive spot 2, 3, 4 years out on this subject of sustainability and diversity? What do you think?
I definitely think so. So I'm super like positive and optimistic in this sense.
Excellent. Natalia, look into my crystal ball. Are we going to be in a good spot in 3, 4, 5 years time?
Yes, of course. I think people have become more conscious about sustainability, and
Excellent.
We want to commit with that.
Thank you. Nika, what do you think?
I think we can't not be. So I think it's, super important, and I think we will get there. I think it's interesting at the moment, it feels like there's less of a question about the why, but more of a question about the how.
Yeah, well done.
I think the proof will be in terms of how people actually start demonstrating progression on those commitments.
Yeah, and Jacqui, I think with the involvement of these 3 amazing ladies, if we are all looking to buy Enrica's amazing products from Orange Fiber, if we're buying Natalia's amazing fresh produce from Colombia, and if we're trying to buy it, hopefully all from the John Lewis partnership through Nikki, we're going to be in a good spot. Jacqui, wrap up for us. What do you think, please?
Oh, I think we alluded to it briefly earlier, but the other thing that I guess we're going to see is this growing pressure, rightly so, from the younger generation. So I think we are going to find ourselves being held accountable by our children's generation. So my quote of the day came from Natalia, which is just, we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for impact, for our community, for our country, for the future. And that really is and should drive every decision in what people are doing. It isn't about us. It isn't about what's past. It's about the future. So if we believe in the future, everybody should be really coming up with really broad reaching sustainability strategies and mandates, and start now if you haven't started already.
Fantastic. And just to wrap up, Enrica, where can we find your products? What's the website or the social media we should be looking out for, please?
So for social media, you might want to have a look at Orange Fiber brand, whereas for the website, it's www.orangefiber.et, and you will have an English version, of course.
Excellent. And we'll see if we can introduce some of our citrus contacts to you on an international basis. Natalia, how can we find out more about your business, please?
We are in Instagram, Montana Fruits, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. So you can find us, and I will contact direct.
Excellent. Nika, how can we find out about John Lewis?
So we're there under John Lewis and also Waitrose. We're on social media, websites, the lot. We've also got various kind of ethics and sustainability reports. So that's the language we use in terms of language.
Yeah, best retailer in the UK. Everyone, thank you very much. It's been fascinating, and I think with the likes of all 4 of you behind this vitally important subject, you're all collectively going to make an amazing difference. And just to wrap up, join Global Women Fresh. They're here to do good, and they're here to do good for the long term. Everyone, keep safe, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thanks, everyone.
morning. Bye.
Bye.